Om. Namaste to all. This is going to be another episode where we look at the Itihasa Puranas and we are going to take some message. Yes, Naveen, I'll put you as the moderator. Thank you for offering. Um, thank you. Um,
Pranam Satyaraji. Thank you. My pleasure.
yeah, appreciate that. Okay. So, namaste to all. And we are going to take another episode of what happened in the Itihasa Puranas, what messages have been given there, and try to translate it to our life. And today we are having an apt topic, Dharma in Kali Yuga. Now, it is important for us to understand that we all know that we are in Kali Yuga. We hear all these words. But sometimes it is good to get an understanding of what is this Kali Yuga? What is this basic idea? Like so many people tell so many names, Yuga calculations, and things like that. It doesn't make any sense to most of us because we are far removed from the vocabulary of the Ityasa Puranas. So let us have a quick detour, understand what is the meaning of the word yuga, how they have used it differently in the past. So the very first thing we need to understand is when we say yuga, there are two conflicting pieces of information that comes. First is we say like, hey, Dasratha ruled 66,000 years, Rama ruled 11,000 years, and we get these big numbers. How is it humanly possible to be for that long time? So it's kind of like difficult to see the logic. So that is the first thing. The second thing is we also hear some numbers that are running in millions of years that makes it even more difficult for us to digest, and because we are not used to numbers, because our number crunching abilities when compared to our ancestors is on the poor side, to say the least. So let's put those two questions to rest. So we have to understand when we look at whether we look at the Vedas, say for example there is this Shanti mantra that say Badram Karne Vishrunuyama Deva. So you have that in Mundaka Upanishad and Mandukya Upanishad, etc. That mantra asks our life to be for 100 autumns, autumn season, fall season. Sataminno Sarado Antideva. So basically it is asking us for 100 years life. So the human life has always been, we can look at in Ramayana also, we can look at it even in when you do Sandhya Vandanam also. You see all these things that basically gives us an idea of 100 years. But we also saw there is a conflict of these ideas that are like across. And then to complicate that, we have these characters like Hanuman. Hanuman is in Treta Yuga, but he comes and meets Bhima. Bhima is in another Yuga. So how is it they are coming? And so we have to understand that we are not getting into those kind of questions today. So how do we account for this Yuga calculation, and how do we calculate this? So for example, there is a scholar called Jayasri Saranathan. I have mentioned her name quite a few times. If you Google her, she has wonderful blog spots. and she is a prolific writer. On top of that, she has written a book called Mahabharata 3136 BCE. I want all of you to pick a copy of it and read. It tells a lot about the dating of Mahabharata, how Shastras can affirmatively tell that date, how we can correlate a lot from that date, and so on and so forth. So I would highly recommend everybody to pick the copy Mahabharata 3136 BCE from by Jayashree Sharanathan. Okay. Now she goes on to give some deep insights. Now, she being very scholarly and very thorough person, she gives all sorts of insights. But I'm just gonna dress it down to our context. So, if a person, especially a Raja, he rules a place in a dharmic way, 100% in a dharmic way, then his one day of life is considered as 1 month. His 1 month is considered as 1 year. Okay, and they have a mathematical formula like that. So, if you apply all that formula, you will understand that Rama lived like around 31 years to rule. That 11,000 years, what is mentioned in the text, actually is a hidden meaning to emphasize the fact that there was dharmic rule. So there is also a Sangam literature, in Tamil Sangam literature, there is a Pandyan king called Makirti. He is supposed to have ruled for 24,000 years. So this guy is like, what, 66 years, something like that by that calculation. So all these dates and times, what they are talking about in by say Dasratha and things like that, all these are like hidden calculations because they tell something behind the scene. Okay. Having said that, because this is going to come up at the end, somebody is going to come with this question. That's why I'm taking the effort upfront to tell this. Now let us understand little bit. There are two types of calculations. There is a cosmic scale Yuga calculation. There is a human scale Yuga calculation. So in the cosmic scale, one Sauramana, that is one solar year, according to our solar calendar, is 1 day for Devas. Now 360 days of Devas is 360 solar years for us. So you take that and you do this calculation. So how many years one solar year is? Like 12 months of it to takes the sun to go around the zodiac. That is how they calculate. They don't calculate it based on the earth around the axis and things like that. What they do is they do a different type of calculation, and based on Surya Siddhanta they tell this. So the basic unit they have arrived is 4,32,000 years in solar years. That is the basic unit for Yuga calculation. So you take one unit, that is 4,32,000 years, that is one Kali Yuga. You multiply that by 2, 8,64,000 solar years, you get Dwapara Yuga. You multiply it by 3, that is 12,96,000 Sauramana years, that is Treta Yuga. And Satya Yuga is 17,28,000 years. Now this 4 you make one bigger unit, you call that as Chatur Mahayuga. All these 4, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, you add, you get 43,20,000 years, solar years. Now you take 71 Chatur Yugas, Chatur Mahayugas, that is called one Manvantara. That is the lifetime of one Manu. Okay. Now we are doing little bit of calculation. Now you take this 1,000 Chaturmaga Yugas is called one Kalpa. That is 1 day for Brahma. Now you take the same amount of time, that is 1 night for Brahma. right? Now, if you are looking at a different way to look at it, that is like 20 rounds of the sun that goes around the galactic center. See, the galactic center has a big black hole. The earth goes around it, and that is what they call. Okay, roughly that is the time it takes. Now, this is for the Deva calculation. Now, what happens? We mix most of the time with the human calculation. Markandeya Maharishi gives another calculation for human beings, human scale. Now, sometimes we bring that and this because we use the same words. Like a person, like Hanuman Jayanti yesterday, now Hanuman, he's also a Bhakta. Now the guy goes to temple and says, Bhagavan, make me pass, make me, give me a job, give me a girlfriend, whatever. That is also a Bhakta. Are both levels Bhakti same? No. Same way, here also the words are same, but the meaning and connotation is contextual. So we need to understand that. So according to Markandeya Maharishi, given in Mahabharata, in Vanaparva, a Krita Yuga, so all these yugas overlap with each other, right? So you will see just like you have dawn and dusk, where the day and night blend in. There is the effect of each other at that time, right? So this is called Sandhi. So for 10% is given for whatever number what they have as Sandhi. You will see the influence of the preceding yuga. So in this case, you take 4,000 years, that is the actual years of Krita Yuga. So you take 400 years with the previous Kali Yuga and 400 years with the upcoming Treta Yuga. So that makes it 4,800 years as a unit. Then Treta Yuga is 3,600, Dwapara is 2,400, Kali is 1,200. So that is 12,000 years. Now this is a different thing, like why are they giving different calculation? Now this calculation is used for different set of information. Now again, these calculations, why they use, what they use is not our mathematical discretion. The reason why I brought it up is to put aside the point that we have different yugas and Kali Yuga has different calculations, different mathematical measurements. The one we are going to use is in Valmiki Ramayana, in Yuddhakanda. Ravana wants Sita to succumb to his desires. So Sita is giving him advice. So she says, Dharmo vai grasate adharmam tataha kritam abhuda yugam. Adharmo grasate dharmam tatastishyati pravartate. So what it basically says is, when dharma swallows adharma, at that time it is called Krita Yuga or the golden age. But when adharma swallows dharma, that means it is Kali Yuga. So we want to keep this definition because Sita gives us the clear path forward for us, for our discussion. So let us go back to our discussion, what is happening and why it is happening. So with that background, that Sita is clearly telling us, it is only by the gunas and the expression of gunas in karmas by a dominant majority, you will see that particular effect. And she also says, wherever there is dharma swallowed by adharma, you will see the hand of Kali Yuga. And wherever you see the opposite, we can create a situation to get rid of Kali Yuga and create Krita Yuga. That is the message I want you to retain in mind. So we all know Pandavas, the Arjuna's son Abhimanyu was killed, and Abhimanyu had an unborn son, Parikshit, where Ashwatthama sent his Apandavastra and wanted to kill it. So Bhagavan Krishna did a lot of effort to make sure that the child will be born. But it was born dead, but Krishna revived him. Now, long after Krishna was gone, he was made the king. And when he was made the king by the Pandavas, and they also had left. So he married his own uncle, like this uncle Uttara. We may have seen him like a comical character who was not brave, but he died a warrior's death. And his daughter Airavati was married to Uttara, and he had 4 sons, and Janamejaya was the eldest. So he got hold of another Yuga Chiranjeevi, Kripa, and he's made 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas. And it was so powerful that common man could see the Devas. It was that wonderful, and there was no effect of Kali. Now, remember, where is this event happening? All these are narrations that the Saunaka Maharishi is telling all the other rishis. About what? About the story of what Parikshit was instructed by Shukracharya. So the interesting thing here is it is like a story within a story within a story. And so these people, these rishis are saying like, no, we want to get to Krishna's story. This is way in the beginning of the 16th and 17th chapters in the Pratama Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now what is happening is they are saying, hey, can we go to the story straight? But the rishis are being told that all this thing is done. You have to understand, whenever there is this satsanga, even Dharma or Yama comes and sits there. So what happens is, all good things happen, even death is kind of arrested. So that is why these things are very powerful. And they are telling all these interesting stories and anecdotes. So back to the story. So Parikshit, what happened? He is the king of Kuru and Jangala. That is the region around today's Delhi. And what happened? He heard the news that Kali is coming everywhere. Now we have to understand, Kali is coming means he is not a physical person. Kali is appearing in the form of lot of negatives. So he took his Sena and he goes to all the continents, different continents like Bhadrasva, Ketumala, Bharata, Uttarakuru, Kimpurusha, etc. And he conquers them. And while he is going one place to the other, the bards are singing. You know who is this king? This king was protected by Sri Krishna himself. And at this point, Parikshit doesn't know the full story. He knows that there was a special person called Krishna and he protected him. It is only when his life comes to an end due to a curse and he has 7 days to live before Takshaka will bite him, that's when Shuka Maharishi, who is the son of Vyasa, comes and tells the entire Bhagavatam to him, and that is when he gets to know the full story of Krishna. So till the time he is only listening bits and pieces that this great Krishna was everything. He worked as a charioteer, he worked as like a personal secretary, like a servant, like a friend, like a messenger, like a person who protected the Pandavas. He glorified Pandavas' success. He did all sorts of things. Though he was Bhagavan, he was doing all these things. That Saulabhya, that reachability was something very, very special for Parikshit. So Parikshit was blown away by that. Now, we'll come to the conversation. Before we come to the scene, what is happening? There is some conversation. Like the actual incident happens, then you have something that happened before. So there is a cow and a bull that is talking to each other. So the cow is standing on one leg, just one leg, and the cow is crying. Okay. Now the bull basically is the representation of Dharma, and the cow is the representation of Bhuma Devi, Mother Earth. Now what happened? The bull is in great misery. 3 of its legs are broken. It is having trouble with only one leg. So the bull is asking, "Hey, why are you crying, Bhuma Devi? Are you in good health? You look a little bit jaded, like you are not feeling good. Are you feeling bad because you are stuck from some grief? Are you having some sorrow because somebody is breaking my legs? Are you feeling sorry that there are bad people growing in your planet? Are you feeling sorry because devas are not getting their ahutis? Are you feeling sorry that people are distressed? Are you feeling..." He is giving a big list of problems that people are not doing their dharma. Nobody is doing their dharma. Now, remember, this is the beginning of Kali. If he were to come, Dharma were to come, he will say like, "Come on, that was like a joke." And then he goes on to ask like, "Are you feeling that the Brahmanas are not doing their job? They are doing some petty things. The Kshatriyas are not doing, they are all corrupted." So what is actually problem? Or is your bigger problem that Krishna has left this place? Because Krishna has left, all the other sorrows have become dominant. Is that the reason why you are afraid, sorry, and crying and miserable? So she says, yes, all these and more reasons are definitely the reason I am sorrowful. And do you know, when Krishna used to be there used to be all these great qualities which Krishna made sure. Those qualities are gone. We are going to put that what those qualities are towards the end so that we can come back and focus on that so that we don't lose the traction of the story. So what happened? She said, yes, all these things are because I have lost Krishna. When Krishna was here, all those wonderful things happened. But most importantly, when Krishna was there, those qualities used to be there. And Dharma used to be there. The Asuric origin people were less. They were kept in check. While these two were talking, there was a person who came as a, he came as a dress, he was a person who was looking like a Shudra. Now, it is very important that we understand when we say Shudra, it is not in connotation with today's caste system. Basically, what it basically, in the Guna Karma translation, this person doesn't have a broader thinking. So in other words, that person is just like us. Okay, like all of us. Okay, so but the rishis had a more powerful, deeper lens, which is more subtle, to study the person's guna and karma, to translate it as varna. We don't have that lens today, so we should not make the mistake of bringing today's social structure and transplanting it in the past. So, but this guy was dressed in princely clothes and he was acting like a Kshatriya. That means he was punishing. And he was taking a stick and beating the hell out of the bull. The bull, again, the interesting thing is they tell the bull is white in color. Why is the bull white in color? He could have, if it is a made up story, it could have been any color, right? Here is what we need to understand. That bull represents Dharma, which represents Sattva Guna. And that is the reason why Sattva Guna is represented with white color. Now, this guy is beating and beating and beating. Now, at that time, our Raja Parikshit comes there. Comes in a chariot and with a bow and arrow. And he takes a aim at this particular guy, bad guy. And he tells, who are you doing all these things, bad things, in the land where Krishna and Arjuna were? Are you getting so bold that Krishna and Arjuna have left? That's why you can do anything you want? How dare you commit this crime? And he immediately gives protection to that bull without knowing anything. Now he is wondering. First he gave the protection, and now he is wondering, are you in some sort of divinity in the form of a bull? Because how is it possible to stand on one leg with 3 broken legs? And this is, I mean, like, he is partly confused, partly puzzled. So he says, I am going to definitely establish Dharma here. So whoever did this bad things to you, breaking your leg, I will make sure whoever did it, even if it is a Deva, I am going to punish it. So have no fear. I will restore Dharma. That's what he said. So here is the answer from the bull. See, sometimes we listen to even this bull story, right? We don't go into the depths. So what happens is the bull says, hey Raja, you are great. I know that you are speaking like a true descendant of Pandava. No question on that. But the root cause of all my misery, I don't know myself. You know, some people say, like Vedantins, right? They have different opinions. Some people say that it is all my destiny only. What is written in my head. Some people say it is because of the nakshatras, griha, sanchara, your some planetary position, something is happening because of that. Some people say because of my bad karma, all this karma phala has come. Another group of people are saying that it is Ishvara, everything is Ishvara, so Ishvara only made this. So maybe we have to blame Ishvara, I don't know. But you know what? You came at the perfect time. You are a Raja Rishi. Why don't you think about it and give a solution for me? What will you do if a bull was, first of all, talking only, we are going to be confused. And we are also not looking here like from that perspective. We are looking from a metaphorical perspective. So understand that, because it is a metaphor. So when it is a metaphor, you have to understand in that metaphorical language. So the after Dharma spoke, that bull spoke, Parikshit thought for a while. He said, you are definitely Dharma Devata in the form of the bull. No question on that. And why you are, while what you are talking about is the 4 legs, those 4 legs are tapas, shaucha, daya and satya. Now, 3 of those feet are gone. Again, put a full stop here, put a hyperlink. We'll come back to why and what those legs and what are important for us, because we are going to bring it back to our day-to-day life. So then he said, this cow that is crying is nothing but Bhuma Devi. And she is crying because since Krishna left, all this negativity has come over here. And the root cause is this fellow who is beating you. This is Kali. So he took his sword and he was about to kill that Kali. Remember, how powerful Parikshit must be. And Parikshit was about to kill. Immediately Kali Purusha surrendered. He said, I seek asylum with you. So, as a person who falls at your feet and seeks Saranagati, the Raja's first dharma is to give protection to the one who is falling at your feet, no matter what mistake they have done. And what happened was, Kali was talking about all this. He said, like, listen, I will remain wherever you send me. I will remain wherever you ask me to stay, I will stay there. But please give me some place. And we will see what places Parikshit is giving. And having taken care of our Kali Purusha or Kali Yuga, now he looks at the Dharma and restores all the four legs. The four legs of the Dharma Devata is now re-established. And now that way Parikshit made sure that Kali Purusha was put in check, at least for his time. Right? Makes sense? Now what we are going to do is we are going to go back and look at some of the points which we jumped, because we wanted to get the thought flow of the story. Right? So the important thing here is, we spoke about the four legs of Dharma: tapas, austerity, shaucha, cleanliness. Now this cleanliness is not only taking bath, putting perfume kind of thing. That is external. What we are concerned more about is the internal cleanliness. Cleanliness from the different factors that condition our mind. That's what we are talking about. The third thing is daya. And then the fourth thing is satya. So, if we really look at why satya is so important. Satya, what is satya, we need to understand. So, how do you know what is satya? Who will tell you what is satya? How do you know what is mithya? You go outside, already bright sun, like early morning in India, go outside, there is a sun outside, blue sky. Now that blue sky, is that blue real? It is a mirage. It is not real color. If that is blue, then night also it should be blue color, right? It is not. It is merely the scattering of the sun's light. Only a certain light is left, and that is why that wavelength is showing up as the blue sky. So, what is real? How will you know that? So, you know that because you went to school, you had association with a teacher who explained you all these things. So, you understood. When it comes to Satya, who will teach us? Only Shastras can tell what is Satya. Now, here again is a problem. Shastras don't talk about Satya, they talk about rhythm. What they talk is the Satya in theory form. You have to take that rhythm, that understanding of real core understanding of the truth, and you have to apply it in your life, and then it becomes Satya. That's why you listen to slokas, it says Satyam vadishyami, rhythm vadishyami. What is that rhythm? That truth, that is the real essence, that as we understand from the Shastras. Now, how do you get that Shastras? Again, Satsanga. So, basically, the truth is the last abode of Dharma. So, Dharma is much larger concept, but in that, the truth is one key component, and that key component is what we are all right now standing on. If there is no Satya, do you think you will be, what if this earth suddenly caves in and it swallows you? Right? So, the important thing to understand is Satyam is the crucial ticket for us to Bhagavan. Satyam is the gateway for us to Dharma, and Dharma is the gateway for us to Moksha or Paramatma. So, Satyam is what will take us straight to Paramatma. So, that is why Satyam is important. Now, how do you restore these four legs? Just like Kali Purusha, when he did all the atrocities, Parikshit was able to restore the four legs. You and I also have to establish those four legs in our lives. Somebody is not going to do that for you. We have to do that. And first for that, we need to know how we lost the four legs. Right now, we know Satyam is still holding on, barely. But how do you do the other three legs? The first one is tapaha. Now, tapaha, that is tapas. Now, you can say, like, I am not a Swamiji, I am not doing tapas. Tapas means that you are focused on an activity, that's all, intensely, and preferably that is dharmic. That is why you find even Rakshasas, they do tapasya, but they also get their benefits, right? So anyone can do tapaha. But these bad guys apply it in a wrong way, that's all. Okay. Now what happened? The second leg. The tapaha is destroyed by our ahamkara, ego. Now let me do one more thing. I wanted to do that in the beginning. As we are looking, I am going to pin an article on the top of our room. So if anybody is interested in looking at the article, that is an accompaniment of this talk, you can look at that article and get more information, maybe like references to which sloka we are referring and things like that. One second, let me pin that. Okay, it's up there. So, now what we are doing is, we are looking at the three broken legs. So, tapas gets destroyed by ahamkara. Say, you may do a good job or whatever you are doing tapasya, but the minute you think I am the doer, it is all gone. It is gone. That's it. So, all this clubhouse and all these things are happening because of Bhagavat Kripa and Guru's Anugraha. But the minute I think that I am the doer and I did it, that is a sure doorway to misery. So we should always remember that we are standing on the shoulders of giants, and we should never forget that. On our own, we didn't get all this knowledge. All Rishis Anugraha we are getting, right? So we didn't invent all this knowledge. So we have to be humble enough to understand that. Then the second leg, Shaucha. What is Shaucha? Cleanliness. Now in Yaksha Prashna in Mahabharata, there is a series of questions asked by Yama to Yudhishthira. One of the questions he asks is, what is the best type of snana? What kind of bathing is the best? So the answer what our Yudhishthira gave, the perfect answer, the snana that removes the mind's impurities, that is the best type of bathing. So in the past, they have always correlated the internal and not only with the external. But what is inside is going to come outside, right? Like face is the index of the mind, right? So what is inside our heart is going to get expressed in our life. So if you are going to be clean inside, you are also going to be looking for cleanliness outside. But what happened? Until few years ago, we have reduced Yamuna and Ganga to a sewer. Because of the dirt we have in our heart, that we could even take the most holiest of rivers and reduce it to the level of sewer. So that is an indication of our mind. So how does this Shaucha get broken? The Shaucha gets broken because of wrong association with objects. Bad Sangha, Dussanga. When you attach yourself to bad things, you get the stench of those things. So cleanliness gets destroyed. Now the third thing is, the third leg, how it got broken. The third leg is what? Daya, compassion. Now how does Daya get broken? Very simple. We get intoxicated. Are we talking about alcohol or drugs? Yes and no. We are not talking about those. But here what we are talking about is the mental modifications that come due to anger, jealousy, passion, greed, so on and so forth. They completely wipe the compassion. I will give you an example. Last week there was a lady who, she was a mother. She had two young children, and what she did was, she had a extramarital affair. She wanted to elope with that guy, so she mixed poison in khichdi and gave it to the children. One child died. I don't know what happened to the other one, very serious. But what happened was, the lady was intoxicated by her passion, by her greed, by her desires. So what happened? There is no daya there. There is no compassion there. So that makes it amply clear, I think. So it is important that we want to restore the Dharma by restoring all the four main pillars of Dharma. Now let us quickly look at all the qualities that Bhuma Devi gave as an example of what we have lost. So if we restore this, it will be same like what Krishna had set up. So understand that. So what we are trying to do is, if we want to recreate the conditions what Krishna created, we need to create these qualities in us. That is the message. So we will look at them. It's a long list, some 30, 35, whatever list. So we are not going to dwell too much, but they are kind of obvious. And then we need to cover a couple more things before we can wind down. First one is Satyam. We already saw that. Satyam, truth. The second one is Shaucham. We already saw that. Daya, we already saw that. Now the next one is Kshanti. Kshanti means forgiveness. We already had a talk. You can go and look at the YouTube channel of mine. I'll try to pin it a little bit later. So there is a talk already given on the importance of forgiveness. It's a 1 hour talk which I had given some time back. So forgiveness, very, very important. The next one is Tyaga. Tyaga is what? Sacrificing. But what are we sacrificing? We are sacrificing the desires of a specific outcome. I am not chasing an outcome. Karma pala tyaga. I am not chasing that particular object of desire or an outcome, but I am only doing my karma, like what Krishna says in Gita. Now you can say, like, how can I do that? So basically you are motivated by doing dharma and doing your karma, but you are not motivated by the karma phala, because the karma phala is going to be part of the karma you do, and sometimes it may not be part of what you do. So you may not get that karma phala what you are thinking. So obviously we have to stay focused on our dharma and karma. Next is santoshaha. Santosha is what? The root word of santosha is coming from santushtaha. That is contentment. Being contented is our ticket to peace, inner peace. Arjavam, straightforwardness. Shamam, Dhamam, controlling the mind, controlling the sense organs, Indriyas. Tapaha, we already saw that tapaha in another context. Samyam, that means like you are treating everybody with love and respect the same. Not treating and everybody by looking and barking at them. You are treating them everybody the same. Titiksha uparati. Titiksha is basically tolerance. Like you are tolerating the dvandvas that are happening in our lives. And then uparati is basically you are not bothered by loss or gain. This is an important quality. If in Vedanta you need to develop, Titiksha and Uparati are called Shad Sampattis. 6 important qualities you need to get. So those are all part of that. Shama, Dhamma is already spoken there. Then the other word quality we are looking for here is Shrutam. Now Shruti strictly means Vedas. But at any given time, there is only a minority who know Vedas, especially the meaning. Even the people who chant, many of them don't know. They are just passing the baton though. So here what it means is, to our level we can step up. We can step it up to say that I am looking for, maybe you can read Gita. Maybe you can read Upanishads. Maybe you can say, no, I don't know that much. I like only stories. I will read only Ramayana, Mahabharata. Fine. All this contain that Shruti information only. So when you go and seek out all that, you are anyway getting the knowledge of the scriptures. Then the other thing is Jnanam. That is knowledge. Then Vrakti. Vrakti is what? That detachment from sensory objects. Like dispassion. Aishwaryam. Aishwaryam is prosperity. All sorts of prosperity. Right? Shauryam. Shauryam means like chivalry. You are showing your like nobility. Tejaha. You know Tejas already. Balam. Obviously, your ability to do the work. That is what is Balam. Like you want to do the work, the strength to do the work. Then Smriti. Smriti is memory, but it also means our ability to connect with, hey, this is my kartavya, this is my duty. The ability to look back and map your dharma from your position. You can look at that also as Smriti. Swatantriyam. You also want to stay focused on being independent. Of course, here we are not talking about dependent, independent, interdependence idea. Here you are not dependent on the vasana pressure. You are independent of the vasanas and you are staying focused on dharma. So that is what we are looking here. Kaushalam. Yogas karmasu kaushalam, says Krishna, right? Dexterity in all actions, skills. Whatever you do it perfectly with a sense of, not a sense of pride in the sense of pride, but a sense of like, hey, this is done to the level of perfection. Kanti. Have you ever gone to any of the old temples and ever wondered how beautiful these sculptors were? Because they not only demonstrated their kaushalam, they also focused on kanti. Because a thing of beauty is a joy forever, right? Then you are talking about dhairyam. All these qualities were there when Krishna was around. That is what we are talking. So if we re-foster and re-engineer these things, it is literally bringing Krishna back. Whether in physique or not, you are going to recreate that Krishna back here if we recreate these qualities. We saw Dhairyam, then Mardamam, that is kindness, right? And also Pragalbyam, you are ingenious, you are figuring out things that you are trying to weigh different ways to establish Dharma. Prasaryaha, like you are also gentle, right? You are also gentle. Whatever you do, you are doing, there is a gentleness to it. It's not like there is a rough edge around. Then you also have Sheelam. Sheela is a very interesting word. We can see there is an element of having those manners, right? Good manners, being well behaved. That's what we call as Sheela. Sahaha, that means you are determined. Ojaha, like Tejas and Ojas, right? Like real knowledge, perfect knowledge. Then again we saw Balam, it's again repeated. It is like properly executing it in this context. Bhaga, like the ability to enjoy. See, when you look at Krishna's story, you also see Krishna not only doing all these things, but there is an element of like enjoyment also associated, right? Wherever, whichever environment. So there is an element of enjoying, and that also brings you Gambhiryam, an element of like joy, and there is also an element of immovability by Stairyam. Astikyam, faith. Faith in what? Faith that Vedas are talking about Bhagavan. Faith in Jivatma, Paramatma. So we are talking about faith at different levels. Kirti, that is fame. Manaha, that is Manaha means like you are like worthy of worshipping. When you look at say the Prime Minister of today, does he command your respect? That is what we are talking about. It's a question of commanding that respect, not pleading for it, right? Anakritaha, that is lacking this pride. And then so many other qualities he is talking, and then he is talking about Bhagavan. So Bhagavan, the word Bhagavan means, that is an interesting word actually. What Bhagavan means, that if somebody has 6 wonderful qualities, what is the 6 qualities we are talking about? We are talking about if somebody has complete strength, not like He-Man, Hanuman kind of strength. It is like complete strength. And fame like nobody. There are so many atheists. They come and go, they scream at Krishna, they tell bad things. But another 1,000 years from now, we will be still talking about Krishna only. Because his fame doesn't go down or up. Same way, Bhagavan's Aishwarya doesn't go down. Nor does his knowledge, nor is his beauty, or his renunciation. So all these 6 qualities is called Bhaga or Bhagavan. Since Bhagavan has all these qualities in infinite measures for all the time to come, at all times, that is why we call him Bhagavan. So now we understood that these are the qualities we need to focus, right? But we are talking about Kali Yuga here. So what we are trying to do is understand the other logic also. Hey, how do I find where is Kali? All we saw was the prescriptions or the conditions that existed when Krishna was there. That is good, well and good. But how do I identify where is Kali? Bhagavatam comes to the rescue again. It tells, these are the qualities you look in yourself. Don't go looking for other people. Other people may have or may not have. We are not talking about cleaning others. We are talking about cleaning our inner self. So, in the inner self, we are talking about lobha. What is lobha? Greed. Anartham. That means telling lies, untruth. Asatya. Anartham means asatya. Now, let us say that, hey, I don't tell lies. So, we tell that I don't tell lies, but ask yourself, that is not the topic here. Are we telling lies or not? Are we telling we are the body? Are we the body or are we the Atma? So, if we don't operate under the belief that we are the Atman and we are saying that this is my body and that is my body, then we are obviously fooling ourselves. We are putting a facade, we are putting a false cover on it. So, we all have a little bit of that anartham. And how do we cleanse that? We cleanse that by satsanga. We cleanse that by introspection. We cleanse that by doing sadhana, by doing tapas. Chauryam, stealing. Wherever there is stealing, whether it is white collar stealing, white collar crime, like these babus do, or whether it is literally physical stealing, that is called chauryam. And in these places, you will find adharma well established and Kali well established. The other place we find is Anaryam. Arya means a person who is a civil person, noble person. Anaryam means this person has no civility, no nobility. So, wherever you find this rowdy gang behavior, you can see that those are expressions of Kali. You saw what happened in Delhi for Hanuman Jayanti. So, what is that? Expression of Kali. Amhaha, that is where there is a treachery, where there is like when people don't do their dharma. So, whenever we are not doing our dharma, what we are supposed to do, that is also called amha. Jeshta, this is an interesting word. The word Jeshta is feminine, and here it represents inauspiciousness. So, what does it represent is she is the opposite of Sri. Sri represents prosperity, and her elder one is called Jeshta. She is the elder one, and she is the inauspicious one. Maya, wherever there is a tricking, cheating, deceit, those are places where you find Kali. Kalaha, this is another place wherever the people quarrel, wherever people do create confusion, right? I don't know, there was one character a few seconds ago, Naveen might have noticed. One character, as soon as he entered the room, he raised his hand. That person was definitely a Kalaha. And he didn't wait 1 second later, because these characters, they come to the room, they come and scream bad words and expletives, and then they get thrown out. They get some cheap pleasure out of that. So, that is an expression of Kali. Then, last but not the least, Dumba. What is Dumba? Vanity. Like living up for others. Status. In other words, what you do for status is vanity. If you could afford only so much of a house or a car or whatever with your job, but you go and borrow more to show off, right? So, that is called Dumba. And whenever we do all these things or wherever these things are happening, it is an expression of Kali Yuga. So, we saw where we see Kali's expressions, right? Now, how do we fight this Kali? Do we even have to fight? Now we say Bhagavan will take avatara and protect us. Now, if we don't develop these divine qualities, identify all these bad qualities and do the fight, why do you think Bhagavan is obligated to come and help you and me? Give me one good reason. There is one English proverb, God helps those who help themselves, right? So, are we even helping ourselves? That is the question. Now, we also want to see the last set of things for today. Where does Kali rule? What is the place where Kali is well established? We just now saw a list of qualities which are expressions of Kali. But there are, like, you remember the story where Parikshit gave 4 places and then later he gave some more places for Kali. So I am going to tell the places listed by Vyasa. It's up to you to make the correction in your own life if you are associated with any of them. So the first one he says is Dyutam. Dyutam means gambling. Right? Now we are thinking like, hey, I am not gambling. See, whether it is blindly doing something, like say you vote for some random person, you don't care, you don't vote, you don't mobilize, and you vote for some bad guy. And what happens? You end up with a bad guy. Like say, for example, what happened in, say, in Punjab, or what happened in Tamil Nadu, what happened in Andhra Pradesh. You get all these anti-Indian, anti-Hindu, openly Hindu-phobic governments. Whether it is atheistic or whether it is pro-Christian, whatever, they are anti-Hindu for sure. So then that is also a kind of gambling only. So we have to ask, what is the thing we are leaving it to probability instead of us taking an effort and doing our part? Let's say you go to an exam. There is only multiple choice question and you have not studied anything. So if you are randomly picking answer, that is definitely the expression of Kali only. So Dyutam is not necessarily only Las Vegas casino or whether you play with the cards with money. It includes all forms of gambling. Second thing is Panam. Panam means drinking. Now we are talking about alcohol or drugs. But I will go and tell one more thing. If you are taking Coke, Pepsi, Fruity, Maaza, whatever, that also is included in Panam. Because those fructose, what you see in those bottles or packages, will do 80% of what alcohol does to your liver. I'm not talking to your brain, to your liver. Exactly, the biochemical pathway is exactly the same. What is alcohol? Anything with OH molecule. You knock that OH, what you get is exactly what you get from this fructose molecule. So you can go and do your own research. You don't have to take my word for it. If you are wanting, you can go and read a book by Robert Lustig, where he has given the biochemistry completely. He is a great professor, medical doctor. He is trying a lot to get all these things to the common man, but Panam. Now, if I am telling so much about Coke and Pepsi, need I even talk about alcohol? If you are a person who says, no, wine, beer, all those things, any alcohol you are taking is taking you away from, I don't care if you are thinking the marketing and say that, no, it is only not that bad as they say. Go and read the biochemistry of it. Before you give your educated opinion, educate yourself on the biochemistry of alcohol. I don't care how many doctors say it's okay to take in small portions, because that doctor is not going to follow that instruction, or he is an idiot. You should not be following. If you touch fire secretly, will it stop burning? If you take a poison, will it not act on you just because you took it in secret? So alcohol does the same thing to you. Wherever there is alcohol production, distribution, consumption, those are places where you will find a well established Kali. Now here we are trying to overcome Kali, and we are trying to hold on to Dharma, so that holding on to Dharma we want to go to Bhagavan. So if you are holding on to alcohol, you will go nowhere except go deeper into Kali's grip. That's all. Next is Striya. Now the word Striya doesn't mean, it means as woman. Now here we may think like, what Vyasa is saying, only all women are bad? No, here he is probably referring to prostitution. Right. Okay, so prostituting is wrong. So what about gays? Immediately our idiot woke mind will come with this kind of question, right? Here what he is talking about Striyaha means that we are always having this Dehatma Buddhi, right? I am this body, this body is beautiful, that person is beautiful, let me do something with them. That kind of mindset is what he is talking about, and that mindset is always going to be taking you and establishing you in Kali. Then the next one is Suna. These are the four things he gave. Dyutam, Panam, Striya, Suna. So he gave these 4 places. What is Suna? Suna means slaughterhouse. So is he talking about the Suna is only the slaughterhouse? No. He's talking about slaughterhouse, but those slaughterhouse exist because there is a consumer. So he's talking about meat eating all the way from killing an animal, whether you leave it in the jungle or whether you bring it and eat it, whether you distribute it, all of that meat and meat related products, anyone who is dealing with that, because you don't have dharmic mindset. Now immediately we'll say like, hey, you guys are promoting too much of vegetarianism or veganism. Do you know how about milk of the cow is actually the blood of the cow? The vegans will come and tell like that. Now you have to understand, the milk of the cow, what we used to get in our desi cows, in our desi concept, was the native cows which were taken care, and it can produce an extra amount of milk which goes to waste, which you are consuming. But today you are having all these hybrid cows, you got Jersey cows, all these different breeds of cows, and you are taking that milk and you are saying like, I'm having a farm, I'll give hormones, that sort of thing. So that is wrong. But milk, like how we followed the Vedic culture, how we followed for thousands of years until the last 50, 60 years, that was always okay, in alignment with Dharma only. So again, quickly to say, gambling is not only restricted to gambling. Panam is not restricted to only alcohol or wine or beer. It is also including everything. Striya is not only having sex with the woman or man with the man or woman with woman, or it doesn't matter, all of those. It is the focus on bodily pleasures. It doesn't matter. There are in Twitter I get all sorts of weird things. People, all these desert cult people doing all sorts of animals, goat or whatever. So their brain is deranged worse than that of an animal. So can you just think about these creatures whom we are bumping into? Now the interesting thing what Kali Purusha said was, hey, I need one more place. So the wise king Parikshit, he gave one more place. He said, I will give you Jata Rupam. Jata Rupam means gold. Hey, so if I buy gold, is it Kali? So here we have to see basically what gold here means is wealth. It is representing wealth. So a few years ago, when we had the black money attack on the what is it, like a black money, the government changed all the denominations, right? All the currencies. So what happened? The people having black money were hit very bad. They couldn't tell outside, hey, I have so much money. Because if you tell, you will have to declare the source. And you can exchange only so much. So the interesting thing was, what here that power does, that wealth corrupts us absolutely, right? This Jatarupam is a composite. Now, if we have any of this or all of this, it will be because of power. What is the 5 he is talking about? So indirectly he gave 5 more places apart from gold, that he gave totally 10 places. Where there is anartham, untruth, madam, pride, ahankara, right? Kamam, lust, rajaha, cruelty or passion, vairam, enmity. If any of these qualities are there, then we are also going to know that those are confirmed places where Kali is haunting. You go on to this people who track ghosts and all, right? What do they go? They go to this haunted house and they go with all this fancy equipment or whatever, and they say like, hey, this is happening here. So this is the place where Kali Purusha dwells or Kali dwells. So we already looked at the formula Sita gave us. So when you and I are under the influence of this Kali, what it does is, all it needs is a small scratching surface, not even a toehold. The minute it enters, it makes a toehold, it will come and take over our entire mind space. So we have to be very, very careful. And the purpose of today's talk, we already saw that how to figure out where Kali is, where that Kali is expressed, how it is expressed, what are the divine qualities that Bhuma Devi is listing, which were keeping this Kali at bay when Krishna was there. If we bring those divine qualities, we can also keep the Kali at bay. And that is the importance we have learned today. And we saw through this metaphorical story between Dharma, Bhuma Devi and Parikshit. This is a story that applies to every one of our lives. It is not a metaphorical story that we put it in a Bhagavatam book, put it in puja on top shelf and do puja and arati every day. We have to take these stories and apply in our life. And only by applying in our life, we will be able to take it to the next level. So let us not forget the fact that we want to approach Shastras with the number one purpose of making those Shastras shine through our lives as an example. So we don't have to look at the Shastras and find, hey, this is Harishchandra. So we want to be that example for the Shastras and say, that was Harishchandra, this is the current Harishchandra. So we want to understand that, make sure that we go back to this article, go back to this talk few times, maybe feel free to take notes. I recommend people to keep a notebook, especially when you are listening it in replay mode. We will be putting all these talks in I will also put that what is it, like the YouTube channel, so that you could go and look at the talks. Give me a second. I'll pin the old English talks playlist. So if you want to go and listen, then what you do is you take that you take a notebook. Try this for 1 year. If it doesn't work, ditch it. But what you need to do is you take this what is it, like a notebook, only write on the right hand side. So when you come here, when you come and look at all the information, thank you Atmaji. So when you look at all the information, some points resonate with you. Those things you write on the right hand side. So as you are doing Sravanam, as you are studying a book, whether you are studying a Shastra or listening to someone, Satsanga, whatever, you take that information and put it, whatever, you are not taking word for word. Please, you are not, you are adults, you are not doing an exam or something. But what you are doing is you are taking those bullet points, only bullet points. Now, those bullet points, you go and review your notes periodically, maybe once in a week or whenever you are free. You take that notebook and look at that. Now, you take that, whatever you have reflected, you apply in your life. Because you are reflecting and applying in your life, you will get new ideas, thoughts that become your own experience. Those things you write on the left hand side of the notes. So in 6 months time to 1 year, you will have so much amount of notes accumulated that you will probably be able to do a better satsanga than I can ever do. So it is important to practice these small tips for your own benefit. With those thoughts, I would conclude today's lecture, and Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Krishna.